So we take the mission statement, we take our values, and then we turn those into tangible things that we can then measure using a quality policy. So it's getting clear objectives and what is quality to you. Again, okay, we want to see ethical, responsible, sustainable services. I don't know what it is, right? This is going to be different for everyone. In our company policies, we have a in our, did I say that right? In our company policies, we have a quality policy template for you to use. And many of the companies that purchase our handbooks use that for 6 months to a year. And then it doesn't fit them anymore. And so they make a more customized quality policy for you. But, so you definitely want to come up with that quality policy. It's a couple of sentences. And then how do you measure that quality, right? So we take client input, we take employee input, safety input, right? Training input, things like this. And then based on all of those inputs, then we determine the priorities, and then we modify the way we do things, or we add services or take some away based on the inputs that you get, is basically how it would work. And then, you take that quality policy. Again, can't get into this. We did a 7-series course on KPI, but then you take that quality policy, which is based on the mission statement and values, and you turn those into KPI. And KPI are going to be dependent on the department, right? So if you have an admin that does billing and scheduling, they're going to have their own quality statement that is based on your quality policy, which is based on your mission statement and values, that will determine if they're meeting that quality policy. Your clinical team will have probably different quality statement. Your operations team may have a different statement. You may even have like a cleaning department, and they have a different statement that measures quality based on the mission statement and values. Does that make sense? So there's a lot to this, but you don't really want to move forward with your practice until you have those values and mission statement and the quality policy based on the values and mission statement.
Yeah, I mean, I think those two things are really going to help shape some of the other pieces. Now, yes, there's a lot of like in our handbooks or just in general, right? In company policies, there's a lot of like template routine kind of dry stuff that's just part of having a company, right? And some of it is just kind of stands as is, but I think the majority of it, you can shape it to match your mission statement and your values. And since most of the people who are going to be making their company policies are the beginners, the newbies, whether you've been in ABA for years and years and now you're branching out to make your own company, or maybe you're deciding my policies aren't where I want them to be, so I want to do an overhaul. I think regardless of which like bucket you're in, it can definitely be a point of overwhelm. I think even if you purchase handbooks, you look at that hundreds of pages document, and you're like, I'm supposed to do what with this? It's overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming, and a lot of as I'm getting to coach and consult with more and more of 3Pi Squared's clients, I'm really enjoying it. And one of the things that seems to be something that all of you guys have in common, myself included when I was in your shoes, is feeling like, okay, I have to have each one of these steps complete and perfect. And so I guess that's why when we were talking about values and mission statements, I was like, it's okay if you just have a few phrases, or if you have some post-it notes and you're like piecing it together as you go, as long as you have that like standard idea of where you want. Same with quality policy. Like when you're building this out, you have to start somewhere, and you can pick one thing. Like, what's the most important thing, or the piece that's gonna be overarching the big picture Where can I start? Because I just want to normalize that you're not gonna have all of the pieces, and you're not gonna have like 10 KPIs, or
Right.
you're not gonna have all the processes. You may use the template processes to start with, and then be like, okay, this is a good start. Let me change it, or this is not working for us at all. How do we do this?
Right.
So I don't know. I guess because I'm in a period of time, in a moment, just in the last couple of weeks, where I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, like creep back in. And yesterday, that's kind of off today. I had a headache yesterday, and today I'm like blah. Um, but that's why I'm not my normal self today. But
That's gonna be the real. That's gonna be one of our
that's
reels.
gonna be a real.
Yes.
Anyways, our dog just looked up. I digress. But so I know you're here for the content and not my personal life. But because like I'm in that little moment of like overwhelm, and I know that I have the skills, I've learned so much of how to get through it, and I know I'm gonna get, to the other side of this, and I have, whatever. But because I'm here, it's so easy to remember and relate that back to like when I was in major, big, huge overwhelm, when I didn't have the skills how to do it, and I didn't know what to do, and I was like beyond burnout, and just trying to like focus on maybe putting a lot of perfection into maybe the wrong things. Yeah. So yes, it's so important to have values, mission statements. So important to have your quality policies and start building all these things out and tailoring into yourself. But it's okay if you're starting at a starting point and then you build to it. Because next we're talking about employee processes.
Can I just say one
Oh,
more thing
sure.
on that? So, like, now some of you may already be here in that overwhelm, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that the reason why you may be here is because you did not spend enough time on your values and mission statement and quality policy. Is
As far
what
as what they mean to you,
right,
not in
but
how they're worded, but
but
like
how what they mean to you, how this company is going to look, um, because where you may be is that like with these two things in place, you can scale your company much easier because you know what you want it to look like, you know what you want it to feel like, you know what quality means to you, and you can say, oh, hold on, this isn't quality anymore, right? Where if you're
mm,
just like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do this,
you're just trying to like
and you're
check
just
off the
checking
boxes
off the
and doing
boxes.
all the
Okay,
things.
I got this done. Now I need employees. Now I need this. Now I need that. And so the vision is more very you don't have a wide vision, right? You're like very narrow focused because this is what I have to do because this is what I'm supposed to do. So and it's working now. Hey, it's working. I'm only working 60 hours or 70 hours a week. This is totally doable. But then when you start to grow, right? And again, we've talked about this so many times, but when you start to grow, okay, you have 2 employees, but what happens when you have 15 employees? You can't do this anymore. And so if you don't have those values and mission statement and that quality policy, then you may be finding yourself in a place where, man, things were so good when we were small, but what's going on now, right? It's just, I don't feel like I know my clients. I don't feel like I know my employees. There are things happening that I don't like. Um, but we don't have any standard processes and procedures to stop those or prevent those things from happening. And I would say that the reason why those things may be happening, I could be wrong, right? And if put a comment in if you're like, no, it's still bad, and I have all these things. But I would say that spending more time here would benefit you. And if you're in that spot right now where you're like all overwhelmed, get a mentor. Please get somebody that can help you. Get an admin person that can take some of this off your plate, so that you can focus more time on this. So we did a podcast with like a consulting one, and her thing was she went on maternity leave and she came back and it was like, this is no longer my company, right? We don't want that. We don't want it where you take a vacation and you don't recognize this place anymore, right? So it's really important. This is how you make a lasting impact on this company, is putting your values and mission statement and your quality policy in it, so that even when you sell it, it's still going to be based on your values, your quality, at least for the foreseeable future, right? So I just think that this is really where you want to spend some time.
Yeah, I
And if you
think.
haven't, sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
if you haven't, I would urge you to take a look at this and evaluate, okay, is this just a bumper sticker, or does this have real meaning, and does this make an impact daily on my staff and on my clients? Because if it doesn't, it's probably not used to the degree in which it should be, and you may see better results if you make it a daily practice.
Yeah, yeah. There is a practice that I do for my goals. Well, on and off. I'm not super consistent with it, but feel like I do it enough that it keeps them in my forefront. And so I write down my goals every morning, like when I'm journaling. And I'm wondering too, like that might be a really good way of keeping some of this like in the forefront, and like especially in the beginning when you're mulling over it, like 5 minutes every morning when you start your work day, maybe,
Right.
like, okay, let me write these down, or let me read them out loud, or let me reflect on them for a couple of minutes, and maybe just add a couple behaviors that how I can show up for my company in a way that matches it. No, 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 we're like really like kind of getting stuck on the values, mission statement, and quality policy, but really looking forward to the next three things. Like Steven said, if you have a really good understanding, and this is at the base of it, then it's going to help shape the rest of it.